Hey folks, B59 here, sitting at the Cape Girardeau forest, ready to pick up some logs on our, so far, one and only train, and a shunt only at that, because we did change the rules. We're going to allow trains in very limited circumstances when they're really necessary because of the volume. Trucks can't really handle it, and we need to use them to send goods to support a river transport line, and that's exactly what we're doing now. These logs go to the Cape Girardeau sawmill, and they get sawn into planks, and right now we're shipping them down to Memphis, where they turn into tools, and right now the tools are being consumed at Memphis. The other thing that we've been setting up is trying to get the St. Louis machine factory running. It is now getting steel, and I think a relatively strong supply based on this kind of wild-ass transport network we created on the Ohio River, which I can't wait to get back to. But that was a super complicated, brain-twisting line to create, and today we're going to have a bit of a palate cleanser. All we're going to do to start with, anyway, is to set up our log and planks network to create enough planks to supply not just Memphis but also St. Louis. And right now we're really only shipping enough to supply Memphis. So what are we going to do? You know, I thought about double tracking it because this train is already practically the length of the station. But then I thought, you know, that's overkill for something like this. You know, we're going to just say size of the station be damned. And let's just make this a big ass train. So we're gonna replace this vehicle, and we want to get it up to a capacity that's at least 200. And we do have a new locomotive here, and we're gonna use it. It's the Mogul. It's more powerful. We're gonna put two of them on here. And then we're going to stack up the flat cars with side stakes until we get to 206 capacity. At least I think that's the number we're going for. It's somewhere over 200. Just over 200. Oh. And what this will do, it'll get us closer to the capacity we need to support St. Louis. 203. Okay, it's a 203 capacity. And we don't have quite enough money. It's $8 million per vehicle, and right now we have 5.4. But actually, it only costs us 6.1 because we get some trade-in on the old train, which will probably be sold to some other crazy place. So we need 6.2 roughly, and there we go. Here we go. So that's done, and we're getting it. I probably should have done that before it came in, but this is such a short run. This train now, this line will do 700 almost rate per year, which is plenty to get us started anyway. And the vehicle itself will have a top speed of 31 miles per hour, and it's mediocre. So if there was any grade, but we're not going to have enough grade here to matter, it would slow it down a bit, but not much. Okay, so that bit is done. I think the other thing we're going to want to do here is upgrade the plank delivery, because we're going to need more of them if we're going to be supporting St. Louis. And I think we're going to do two things here. First, we're going to try to make this a little bit bigger if we can. And add another platform. Just one, I guess, at the moment. And then we're going to go into these lumber trucks, and they need to get up to, well, if we had, they need to at least double. Let me put it that way. So what we're going to do is, first of all, those are old trucks. Let's replace them. And we'll replace them with these carriages with side stakes. They'll travel 1 mile per hour faster and hold one more. So just on their own, they're going to provide some benefit there. But then I think we also need to double this line. And so I'm going to borrow a little bit more here. Hopefully we'll not tap ourselves out. And for these vehicles, can we clone them all? We could. Okay, so we'll let that go and see how that manages to keep up. Then the next step is to run the planks on a barge. And I use the term barge very loosely here because at this time they really weren't using barges so much on the Mississippi River. It was all steamboats. The barges came later after the Civil War, and they were one of the things that helped to destroy the actual steamboats, the beautiful steamboats that we have. Okay, so let's set this line up. And let's make it planky colored. Everything's orange on this map. We'll call it cargo barge, Cape Girardeau to St. Louis. And then we'll set it up to add some stations. We'll add Cape Girardeau, and then we'll come up here and add St. Louis. And we're not going to wait till full because I don't know what the dock situation is going to be at first. And I think we'll eventually pick up to this spot. It'll be just fine. Then we'll unload in St. Louis. So we've got our planks we're loading in Cape Girardeau and unloading in St. Louis. That looks good. And now we need to get a boat on this line. So let's get one of our riggies and get it on the Cape Girardeau to St. Louis line. Okay, that'll start creating some demand for the St. Louis planks. And let's see what our mill is telling us it's doing now. It says we do have now the St. Louis Machine Factory as a consumer, and it's starting to tick up. So I think we're going to start to see more action there. Excellent. Then the other thing we need to do, once the planks get up here, we already have a healthy supply of steel. So once the planks start arriving, this machines factory is ready to get to work, but it won't start producing until we get the delivery trucks in place. So what I'm thinking maybe is we'll put, let's see, either here or here. One end of either the middle or the end. Let's see what it looks like. And this one is I'm gonna give it 2 platforms. It's eventually gonna ship both, and it will catch both of those. Let's just put it here. This will give us room to expand. It will end up shipping goods into St. Louis as well as tools or machines. So we'll just get that set up now. And then we need to figure out where our delivery is going to be in St. Louis. And it looks okay. Let's see. Looks like machines are required out here and they're required up here. This is going to take 2 stops. And I want to try to keep them off of the tram lines as much as possible. That doesn't quite reach. That reaches. Let's see, would this reach? Not quite. No, it doesn't help. So let's make sure we're capturing this last one too. Yeah. And I'm going to put it on both sides because I'm not sure which way this is going to end up going. And then down here, we probably want it. Let's see, if we put it over here, it will stay off of the tram line and it'll capture, I think, everything. Yeah, we'll put it here. Okay, and now let's create that delivery line. Go from here to here to here. Let's see what this looks like. These are tools, they're kind of gray. Is that going to be too hard to see? Am I not clicking right? Oh, we're auto-saving. Okay, so auto-save, auto-save, auto-save. Okay, now it's gray. Let's make it just slightly darker. Having trouble seeing that clearly. Okay, so it comes around here, down to here. Here. Goes around there, has a short spot, it shares some tram line. Comes through here. Oh, it goes all the way up here. Is that right? Is that what we want it to do? Would we prefer it to come up this way and stay off the tram lines as much as possible? I think we would. So let's go ahead and get a waypoint in. And we'll get it pointing this direction. And then we'll manage our line. Let's see, this is after Lakeview Street. Well, that's not exactly what I wanted either, but kind of like it to go back up this way. So let's put one more waypoint in. Let's get this thing the way we want it. And did I not get that added? There it is. Alright, I think that's probably a little bit better. And we will call it the Delivery St. Louis Machines. We'll get some vehicles on this, and we don't think we have a regular road depot in here, so let's go ahead and create one. And we'll get it like, do we have room right here? We could just put it right here. Okay. And we'll get 3 vehicles to start. And I think we need the covered wagons. I'll get 4. And I am going to set them to have a high level of maintenance because they're going to be running right through St. Louis. And let's get them on line 1, or in Delivery St. Louis Machines. And I want to make one more change to this line too. I would like to have it wait till full up at the transfer. No sense in picking up unless you're full. All right, there we go. Now let's see, what boat are you? It's the Cape Girardeau St. Louis line. Went up to St. Louis empty, now coming back to see if it has any planks to pick up, and it does. It has 7 planks. So that's a start. And how are we doing on this line over here? Oh, you know what? We have a bad case of the uglies here. This is really actually slowing things down. I think what we want to do, we want to knock this out and that out. And then I'm going to go into this. Let's get this properly configured. Well, that's not what I meant to do. I didn't want to configure the ferry dock. I need to configure this. And then if we come out of here now, we're going to be able to make a nice entrance. You know, I think that's going to end up having a much smoother traffic flow. And so let's see, what is our rate here? Our rate is 261. That's probably still not enough. We're shipping... Well, let's let that go for the moment. So let's take a quick look now, take it off pause, at how we're doing money-wise. We've got $3 million in the bank, but we did take a bunch of loans. We were at $8 million now, and let's repay some of this. I'd like to try to keep it to $5 million or less. We'll get it paid off soon. And then how are we doing in terms of making money? So last year we made about 1.7, 1.8 on our road system, 485 on our railroad. Oh, that just jumped. Oh, I see. We just finished another period. So this time we made 1.8 on our roads, 1.5 million on the railroads. That made a huge difference. We more than doubled the size of that line. That's tremendous. And then our river transport made over $1 million last year. That is awesome. We are well on our way to really knocking them dead with our river transport system. Piasa Transport is successful. Okay, so I paused the game for a few minutes, paused the recording, because I had some bread in the oven that had to come out. And when I walked away, I thought I had put the game itself on pause, but I had not. So we ended up advancing some time. I'm not sure exactly how much. I did go back to an autosave that was a little bit closer to the time when I walked away. And you know, we'll see how it goes. So I apologize for that, but we did get some more money in the bank. But what I'd really like to do here, and you know what, we'll just go ahead and bank some of this. And we can, gosh, I think we're pretty much getting close to that spot in the game where you kind of have endless money. All right, let's take it off pause. I think what we'll do now is take a look at some of the lines we've set up on the Ohio and this mid-Mississippi, and let's just see how they're doing now. They've had a little bit of time to get established, and let's just take a peek. So our Cape Girardeau to St. Louis plank line is now up to 58. Our supply line down to Memphis is well underboated. But let's just see what we've got going here. You know, we've got 135 is what the need is in Memphis for tools. So that should, you know, we should be shipping down here around 135 just to make that work at full capacity. And right now we're at 106, so it's not quite enough. We really are due for another boat here, but I'm not sure that it will run very full on the way back. May not matter. In fact, let's just go ahead and get another boat on this line. Let's see, where is the other boat? It's just coming in here now. Well, that's the cargo barge between St. Louis. Let's go ahead and name it. But on our, we're gonna add a vehicle to this line. We only have one. Gosh sake, it's on the other end of the at the line at the moment. So let's just add one more, and I think that'll be better for us. As this boat comes out, let's watch it come out. We still haven't seen a Frontenac, and that's going to be Maybe next episode. We'll see. So let's name this boat. Cargo barge Cape Girardeau to Memphis. And so we'll increase our plank deliveries down to Memphis. And let's see, how else are we doing down here? Are we shipping all of our food? We're not. We're backing up there. So we need to get some more trucks on this line as well. So currently we have 13 vehicles. The rate on the line is 135. And we actually need to be supplying, let's see, what are you supplying these days? Your consumers are Evansville, Louisville, Cape Girardeau, and Lexington. That looks right. And together they need, well, let's see. Let's just take a peek at all of them. Cape Girardeau needs 45. It's not getting fully supplied. Evansville needs 106. That's 147. Louisville needs another 80. So we're up to over 200. And Lexington needs another 45. So we need to be producing close to 300 at this plant. We're not there yet. This line is not keeping up. So let's not double it, but let's add 5 more vehicles here. And clone those. So now we have 18 vehicles on this line. We're probably going to need to bring some more food in. This line is 100%. This farm is producing 100%. And is this a, well, and it's shipping 100%. This one is shipping 100%. So together they're shipping 400, which only allows us to make 200. And that's about what we're making right now, just under 200. But we're not transporting at all. We're gonna eventually bring in another line here, but not right now. I really want to kind of look at the low-hanging fruit and what we can do, and is everything operating the way it should. And so it's with some trepidation that I come up here now to the Evansville lines, and let's take a peek at what's going on. And we see that our Evansville barges have nothing waiting, and they never will, because that's just a drop-off for bricks. The Evansville-Cincinnati line has a rate of 106. Cincinnati would like 103. So we should be getting there with that line. Although, I think what's happening here, let's go back and take a look at this line. When we're picking up here, we're saying pick up 100% each of fuel and... So let's take a look at our boats on that line. And what are they carrying? So this one has 35 of fuel and 34 and 35 of bread. And this one is carrying 63 of 70 of steel. And it's coming back down, still's got a ways to go. So we're going to have, at this line, we've got 32 and no bread at the moment waiting to get up. So, you know what? Let's leave that one alone. Our cargo barge from Evansville to St. Louis only has a rate of 64, and it's not catching up. It is time to add at least one more vehicle here. At some point, we're going to have to think about how we avoid this line coming back empty. So we'll have to keep that in the back of our minds as we're working on that. But we are getting our shipments up. We have now, that'll give us 106. We'll see how that changes things. And then our line from Evansville, Louisville, and Lexington. We have 2 vehicles on it. And at the moment, it doesn't have any food waiting for it. We really need to get more food up here. So our Evansville, Memphis line. Okay, it's carrying 140. It's got 2 barges full of food coming into town. And one of them is here. So it's got a ways to go yet. And that one's going back down. And this one's coming up. And it is... Oh, wait, that's the one we were looking at a minute ago. Evansville, Memphis. Oh, those 2 are very close together. We're probably going to need to get another boat on this line because it has a rate of 105, but we need it to be up to 100. We need it to be up to 200. Well, no, because we don't have to worry about Cape Girardeau supply. But that's only 45, so it still has to be quite a bit more. You know, we're just gonna... I don't want to... The thing I'm a little worried about, we're kind of bunching them up. I'd prefer to get these 2 heading, you know, back to about here before we add another boat. Although I could bring it out from here. That's what I'm going to do. And then have it head back down towards Memphis. So this is Evansville, Memphis line. And then and let's see, which way are you going? You're heading to Memphis, which is perfect. So that should be getting more food up to it'll now have a rate of 139. That's still probably not enough. That's still not enough. We're going to leave that there for now until we see what this new ship does to balance it out. But I think we have some more long-term planning to do around all of this. One thing is that Cincinnati wants tools. So, you know, maybe we can figure out a way to bring tools up here and maybe bring some bricks down. We'll see what our supply of bricks are. And then let's just do a quick spin of our passenger ferry service as well. It kind of looks like it's just clipping along just fine. Next episode, we're going to upgrade our boats, and I am looking forward to that. We're going to spend some time talking about steamboats in this next episode as well. It'll be a lot of fun. That one is doing fine. Our bus services are all doing fine. This looks like we're able to handle it. And if we look at our St. Louis, I never did add Chicago to this. We look at that line, it's got 4 ships on it. It has a rate of 150, and it's making about 232 grand. So it's not knocking it out like our cargo lines will, but it's doing pretty good. And it seems to be reasonably full. It has 152 of 280 people on board, which means it's more than half full. And given the fact that it's this extended line with multiple stops, I think that's pretty good. And then our Cape Girardeau to St. Louis, Cape Girardeau, Memphis line has a rate of 74. We have 119 of 140 people on board. And it's also making a similar amount of money. So that seems to be doing pretty good. Now, in terms of our cities, Memphis has plus 40% from destinations, plus 70% from tools, plus 70% from fuel, and it has a plus 200% growth at this point. Destinations, it's sending people to Cape Girardeau, mostly via our ferry boats, but it kind of makes me wonder if how are the others 18% getting there? Are they swimming? We have only one person going to Chicago. Understandable, long way, very slow. We have 12 and 13 that want to go to Evansville. We have a lot that want to go to Memphis. But only, oh, I see, only 7% are in our line. Yeah, that's in inner city. Peoria, we still have some that are going to Peoria. We have a ton that are going to Springfield, and a lot going up to St. Louis. And some of them appear to be, a very small number appear to be swimming there as well. And that's it. So that's one far end of that line, and the people are traveling pretty well. I just want to take a look at Springfield, because Springfield has been one of those places that it has 1,138 destinations now. It still doesn't have any goods being supplied. We'll need to work on that. But in terms of our destinations, it has 6 and 13 to Cape Girardeau, 58 and 47 to Chicago. There is a road network that they can drive up to Chicago, so I get that. It's still pretty good. And then when we get down to Memphis, we have 6 and 1, 29 and 28 to Peoria, and then 45 and 51 going into Springfield. The thing that I'm really curious about is when we get this all built out, the whole Mississippi River network, will we have anybody that travels on the boats from Chicago to New Orleans? I kind of doubt it, but maybe. All right. Okay, I think this is good. Actually, the last line I want to take a look at is our, maybe we already took a brief look at this, our Evansville, Louisville, Lexington line. And we have, you can't even see all the cargo on it because they won't let me make this bigger, huh? Steel, construction material, and bread is out here somewhere, but we can't see it. That's unfortunate. But it's making money, and the boats, well, let's see what the boats have. This one has steel. It's now taking steel down to Evansville to truck onto St. Louis. And the other one is carrying, is at Lexington, and it just, let's see, where are you? Heading up to pick up iron and coal. So it just dropped off some goods here in Lexington. And our delivery system seems to be keeping up so far. We just had a delivery and it's not overloaded. And we're starting to see some construction there as well. We don't have any passenger service into Lexington, and that's something else that's been on my mind that we'll want to think about. But our line seems to be delivering now. We're getting food and bricks all the way up to Lexington, which is this far spot. And so that complicated brain twisting line seems to have worked. I think what I'll leave you with on this outro is a bit of a view of us coming into the docks at Upper Lexington to pick up our iron and coal. We can pass by Lexington and okay, here we are on the Kentucky River, floating past Lexington, heading up to the dock here where we've got a big load of iron and coal waiting for us. This is probably a pretty good money-making barge right here for this trip. It's short, but it'll be full. Folks, thank you for joining me again. The series is really starting to get rich. We're building out the networks. I'm looking forward to introducing the Frontenac next episode, and I will see you then.